I have remade the entire of World 1 from Mario Bros. DS in Mario Maker, but now I'm doing it again. And guess what number's after 1? 7.
Are you stupid or something?
It's time for me to rebuild the entire of World 2 in Mario Maker 2. Do the thing. We start in 2-1 where we find a problem. There's this weird block thing which never appears again in this world, and it just sort of makes more blocks when jump into it. So I just stuck a block on the track, cause yeah. Later on in the level, there's this first instance of quicksand, and stupid me forgot that donut blocks existed.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
So for now, I kind of left it empty. Don't worry, I'll come back to it. Another problem is these 2 blocks bridges, which Mario Maker doesn't have for some reason. And then I realised I could just use cloud blocks because they do the same thing. A theme you notice in these levels is the fact that you can never fit them in one sub-area. So it's the same with this one, so I had to build into the sub-area. But other than that, 2-1 wasn't actually that difficult to remake. And neither was 2-2. Apart from these weird bridge things where you jump into the bottom of them, which I found out on and off blocks had the same effect. One of the main problems of this level was the Lakitu. In the DS game, the Lakitu respawns, but in Mario Maker 2, it doesn't. So I just sort of put a load of Lakitu everywhere. And after making my fancy cloud patterns of coins and stuff, we do have to build into the sub-area for this level. But other than that, like I said, 2-2, very easy. And 2-3 isn't at all. One of this level's many problems is the fact that sewers just don't exist. So I had to use the regular cave theme instead. And there's also these weird gutter things which you ground pound into, but they're only one way, so I have to use one-way doors. But there's also these weird things over here, which I had to use semi-solids for. And then there was this section with like way too many one-way walls, and I have no clue what's happening anymore. The area of the checkpoint had to completely shrink because it just doesn't fit. Let alone that, and the fact I had to take away both the secret exit and the water, because fun fact, this isn't a forest level, it's a cave one. So I just had to use regular P-switches for the things. And then again we find an area which just doesn't fit, so I have to chop the bottom up and make its own little mini area. And in that big main area, there's these weird switch things which I just use on and off blocks for. And that's the end of it. It's over. Yay! 2-4 is next, and I had to make it a forest level because there's this teeny tiny bit of water at the very bottom of the map, which is only used in one section. Anyway, 2-4's mechanic is these weird sand pile things, and because they're switch activated, I decided to make them P-blocks. So after building the water section and running out of room, so we had to build into the sub area, we finish off 2-4 with no major problems.
This right here is my favorite thing, ever. In the history of forever.
Next up is 2 Tower, which has these weird rotating things, which I replaced with platforms on the track. There's also these ropes which you can hold on to, which I just use swinging claws on tracks for. Another thing this level has is multiple areas, so I had to split the vertical sub-area into many parts. And the secret part has these weird moving block formations, which I can't do, and the closest is just snake blocks, so I use snake blocks.
Makes sense to me.
The other section has these rotating platforms which go on and off, like on and off blocks, and because there's no rotating platforms in this game, I decided to just have the on and off feature. Which even then, only some of them go on and off, so I don't know anymore. And then there's the boss fight against Bowser Jr., which, unlike the first tower, was actually decently difficult to remake because this game doesn't have quicksand. So I just had lava instead, because, you know, why not? Next up is 2-5, which has these weird brick jumping people. So I decided just to put bricks on tracks, because they go up and down. But they weren't fast enough, so I made them winged. which kind of makes them go too high, but I don't really care anymore, so. There's also this weird bridge of blocks, which are just made hard blocks, because they look similar, kinda. For a while, most of this level doesn't have many problems, until the checkpoint, which introduces a new enemy, the fire snakes, which I had to make a brand new thing for. And after 20 minutes of doing nothing, and then 5 seconds of thinking, I just put lava bubbles on tracks, because, you know. The level normally ends with a show off against a boomerang bro, but because Mario Maker 2 doesn't have them, I just sort of put a regular hammer bro. And then at this point where I realised donut blocks can be used as quicksand. And yes, I did go fix 2-1, so yeah, I'm happy now. And after creating this epic secret section, we go on to 2-6. And after creating this weird pipe formation, we head into our first pseudo auto-scroller level. And it's extremely long for some reason, and I had to build into the sub-area, which in this case is the main area. But this level was extremely easy to remake, and only at the end did we find any problems. Being this weird cork thing, which, like normal, I just use on and off blocks for, because, you know, you hit the thing, and then the plant dies. Next up is 2A, which I have to yet again use the forest beam for, because water. Luckily, the basic part of this level was easy to create, as it's just a bunch of bridges and ground. But then there's the main mechanics, being this cheap guy that just follows you around, and these weird spring platforms. To start with the cheap guy, I just put a spiny in a Lakitu cloud, because the Lakitu cloud make it follow you. And for the spring thing, I use springs.
Oh my god! Wow!
Using these techniques, we can make it to the end of the level, where normally there's a split path between a regular and secret exit. But I can't do secret exit, so I just put the star coin that's normally a secret exit outside the secret exit pipe, and make the regular exit pipe the only exit pipe. Make sense? Cool, because it's on to 2 Castle. The level starts off with this weird section with a spike ball going right on the bricks, but for some reason, in Mario Maker 2, spike balls only go left, unless you force them to go right, which I did.
I was not expecting that.
A bit later, there's this swinging rope part, which, like the ropes in 2 Tower, I just use as floor for. And then there was these sections which have these weird block things, which at first I used hard blocks for, before realising big spike balls kill hard blocks. Next up is the desert section, which I had to put in a sub area. Kinda like those rising sandhills from 2-4, this weird dip in the floor thing, I had to use P blocks for, as the switch is similar. I also had to place a spring here so the spike ball doesn't go to the other place. But that's when I realised I forgot that, again, the spike balls kill the hard blocks. So after rebuilding that entire section in regular dirt, I have to begin working on the boss fight. You see, unlike World 1, World 2's boss fight isn't in Mario Maker 2, so I had to make my own. For starters, I started with the Pokey, and put it wings so it jumps around, kind of like the Mummy Pokey from DS. And then I made the ground for it uneven, so it's a bit random, and stuck these fire piranha plants to act as its evil spit of death. But then, if you didn't have a fire flower, you couldn't defeat the boss, so I decided just to have these weird shell dispensers. If you throw the shells, they go into the floor. Oh yes, this boss fight is ridiculously easy if you have the fire flower. I can't care, because now it's on to the world map. I started by placing the levels in the first section, before realising there's not enough space in the first section, because normally, before the tower, and including the tower, there's 6 levels. World 2-1 to 2-4, 2A, and 2 Tower. But because 2 Tower is kind of like after these, I put it in the second world of this world. So after creating the second section of World 2's world map, and decorating all of it, I have remade World 2. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, give me your spoons, and get out of my house.